Batwoman number 5, written by W. Hayden Blackman and J.H. Williams III, who also did the art. Last issue we left off with the DEO coming to town because they finally have a lead on Batwoman's identity and are going to confront her. And Batwoman also getting a lead on who La Llorona is and how she can be stopped. This issue picks up with Kate meditating. She's just going through her head, trying to figure out how to take out La Llorona, and she finally comes to fire. Apparently that's how you beat a water, is with fire. I feel like that's the opposite, but whatever. So she puts on her Batwoman gear, heads down to the old boat building where Maria apparently died, according to her father from last issue. And she sets up some pictures of the kids, and she's like, hey, Maria, I know you're here. Come on out, talk to me. And Maria comes out and she's like, what are you doing here? This place is sacred. And she's like, I need to know where you've been taking the children. I know this is the site of all your suffering, blah, blah, blah. And basically it's all just one big thing. If she uses her water powers on Batwoman, but it's kind of all mental, I guess. It's not actually like drowning her, because she's got a whole thing of her sister Alice coming out of her, and then like they're mirroring each other's movements, and she feels responsible for Alice's death, whom she may have drowned. That's kind of the vibe I was getting from this. Again, I had not read up on that. Additionally, throughout all these panels, we get cuts to Maria that day that her children died, and then her actions there afterwards of her suicide of walking into the sea. But during this entire thing, Batwoman stands up and she's like, I'm sorry for what happened to you, Beth, which is the actual name of her sister. She's like, but this is not my fault. And then I guess La Llorona has just no power over her, because it's more about showing her her own suffering or her own loss than it is actually drowning her. I'd have to reread that to make sure that's all true, but regardless, she goes up and she talks to Maria, and she's like, look, you chose to kill yourself. You chose to be a drunken, careless mother. These were your choices, and now I'm making mine. So she throws a lighter at a gasoline can that lights up basically a circle of fire, which I guess is enough to take out Maria. But as Maria is finally parting to the next plane of existence, however you want to call that, she lets out that someone or something was making her take the children, and she names it as Medusa. So she's saying, oh, that's where the children are. Find Medusa, and that's, where I was taking them. Goodbye. She fades into nothing. And Batwoman's like, who the hell's Medusa? So she gets back to her apartment after she burns down the entire boathouse. We see her cutting her father out of pictures of her and her sister. And she's like, all right, just going to paste that up on the old refrigerator. Should be nice. And she talks to herself out loud about, like, all right, what's Medusa? Do you think I can hack into the GCPD database and figure out what's going on? And then she smells cigar smoke, and the lights turn on. And Director Bones and, I'm blanking on her name, Chase, I believe, they both are just sitting in her kitchen. They're just like, sorry, hi, yes, we've been here the whole time. So they get into a little bit of a fight, and Bones is like, whoa, calm down. We're not here to fight you. And they show Bet's bloodied up Flamebird costume, and she's immediately like losing it again. She's like, what did you do to Bet? I burned that costume. And she's like, well, it was on her, and we saved her from dying out in the street. So you kind of owe us a little bit there. And basically, Bones puts down the facts of, look, we want to dismantle Medusa as well. Like, that's a thing that we're doing. And we want you to work with us instead of with that Batman Incorporated thing going on over there. We have better toys, better pay. Just say yes, and we won't have to do something bad. And she's like, what do you mean do something bad? And they're like, well, your dad committed a bunch of war crimes and treason, I guess, in that book I didn't read beforehand, and as such we would have him prosecuted, so either work with us or else. So Kate goes down, talks to Bet, and was like, look, I'm going to go work with them. It's not going to be Batman, sorry. And Batman's standing in the room, and he's like, you're making a bad decision here. Like, I'm not going to be able to get along with the DEO. And Kate's just like, look, I know the lines, I'm not going to cross any of them. I'm still going to be my own Batwoman. And Batman's like, they're not going to give you a choice, Kate. So he leaves, and we see Kate put back on Batwoman the costume, and he goes and talks to, I guess, the parents from like the beginning of the book. I didn't go back to check, but basically she comes forward and she's like, "Look, I want you to know, La Llorona, taken care of, and I'm going to find your children. Everything's going to be a-okay because I'm Batwoman." And that's where the trade leaves off. We are done with the whole trade. That's incredible. Hydrology, the name of the arc. I liked it. I think it was a good setup, but it definitely, like, La Llorona was definitely in the background of that. It was the whole setup of setting up the DEO and Batwoman and all the other characters. That was the focus. And I think it did a fantastic job on that. The art, phenomenal all the way through. The layouts are always creative. I can't speak highly enough on that. So, just for this issue particularly, I think just having the extended fight scene where it's Alice and Beth and whatever again, that kind of drags it down a little bit. I like the reveal at the end that she's going to work with DEO. So overall, I'm going to give this one a 7, mostly for the art. I would put it a little bit lower if it didn't have this high quality art. But regardless, the arc as a whole, all that stuff, I would put that up closer to 7.5 or an 8. Not even thinking about the art, because it's just a solid setup to whatever they're going to be doing with Batwoman moving forward. So, yeah. Batwoman Volume 2, or, the next volume in trades, coming next month.